She just goes a little mad sometimes.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Just been informed that zombies have entered the building.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
I see dead people.
Welcome to Fright Night. For real.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fandom Outpost. We have a Fright Night for Real episode today. We're launching this little sub-pod inside our Fandom Outpost podcast. And we got a special guest today. We have Ron, a buddy of mine, that we wanted to talk about horror. How's it going, Ron?
Thanks, Bob. Yeah. Oh, I catch you. We work together, and one of my favorite people to run into in the hallways to go, "Have you seen this? Have you?"
I know.
Just talking horror with you has always been a pleasure. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was great. I'm glad we can connect. This pod was mainly spawned from the idea of kind of focusing on horror in general, horror movies. So I thought, hey, why don't we just talk about a subject in horror, and away we go. So
I love it.
We were going to talk about horror movies that never got sequels, and maybe because they didn't need them. So we were going to talk about that as a topic. Yeah. Also, some upcoming news on the Weapons movie that came out this summer. We wanted to touch on something about that, what's coming up for that, and our thoughts on the movie, and some other upcoming horror movies we're looking forward to going into the fall, because it is going to be spooky season any day now, right?
Favorite time of the year, man. I love it.
It is. I can't wait. Why don't you just give us a little bit of how you feel? What's your background on horror movies, and the type of movies you like, or what was your first experience with them, or whatever? Just a little synopsis of your background of it.
Answering that question, and this is surprising me, but I think back to like my introduction to horror. My parents are very liberal with. My dad worked for a cable station when I was a little kid, and we grew up in the Caribbean. And he kind of worked this overnight shift, and I forget how it worked, but basically they would ship beta or like 1 inch of like HBO programming that he would then ingest, and they'd bring home movies all the time. So I just remember, Friday night, Saturday, my dad would just bring home all these movies from work. Wow. And one of the first things I remember watching, and I was, I'm thinking I'm 4 or 5, but it was the making of Thriller. And it was the Michael Jackson, John Landis behind the scenes. So I remember vividly watching that before the actual music video and just falling in love with it. Just not understanding what makeup was. But my mom was in theater, so I would go with her and do stuff with plays and whatnot. And then I'd watch that, and I just thought, this is something people could do. Like, as a really young kid, I got into that. And then it was really unfettered. It's funny, because I remember watching, like, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. I'm like 7 or 8 watching these movies, and they didn't scare me. But something like Gremlins, like the narrator at the end of Gremlins saying to check under your bed, just spooked me like nothing else. Like, that would get me. But like, I think I just always had this innate understanding that this was makeup and practical effects, maybe because of that Thriller video.
Yeah, it was kind of the gateway into Landis, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. And then American Werewolf in London, and just all of this stuff. And my uncle was really into horror, and he always just kind of, he'd take me to see Demon Knight and Candyman and all these just great early 90s, horror films. Yeah. And it's just always been my favorite genre. I think getting it right is like music, just getting that, making it work for an audience is just something special that, it's different than any action or romance film. Or sci-fi even. It's just its own little thing that I've always been really compelled to follow and look out for. So, and it's fun because more than anything else, sci-fi has these weird waves, but horror will really fall off, and then there'll be a bunch of remakes or a bunch of, they'll kind of beat a dead horse, and then it'll come back with a vengeance, and there'll just be these years of. This has been a really good year for horror, and it's impressive.
I really enjoyed last year, and now this year is kind of like hold my beer kind of thing.
I know, so many surprises, just one after another. Like, Weapons really caught me off guard. I didn't know what to expect. It was just such a compelling trailer, and then it just really delivered. But I mean, I don't know if I have like a favorite style of horror,
subgenre or anything.
subgenre, but we touched before this about found footage, and I've always got a soft spot. You mentioned liking those, and a lot of people kind of tend to downplay them, but Blair Witch Project was an effective movie for me. I had friends who were really, I wasn't on the internet in a way that some of my friends are, who really believed that this was like, found footage, or I just know that the social media, well, God didn't even have social media, but the web presence of,
there you go.
Message boards and talking about these kids are actually missing was just such a neat way to make a movie. And my parents' house at the time had all these woods behind the house. So coming home from that screening and just that powerful ending, it was really effective. I just thought it really worked, but.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. The Blair Witch was definitely one that like you said, it was right at the advent of the internet, and it just there was something about the being naive about it and believing a little bit maybe, and
sure,
it was a lot of fun. And every time I see a found footage movie, there's always like, is this based on something or?
Sure. I always considered Blair Witch the first, but I mean, really, if you go back, I think Cannibal Holocaust might have been the first to really establish.
I've heard of that one. I've never watched that.
Oh, it's brutal. Like I love it. Oh, gosh, I wish I had the director's name off the top of my head, but it's one of the first. Before I'd even seen it or heard anything about it, what caught me. Or my desire to want to see it was the director was arrested because the effects were so well done. He had to go prove to a court that he didn't murder the actress in the movie because they did this really compelling, like, impaling gag. So, like, this woman sat on this kind of curved. I don't know, it was really effective, but it looked like she was impaled on this pike.
That's the poster, I think. I remember.
Yeah, that's on the poster.
Looking it up, and I was like, "What is this?"
But as a found footage film, I mean, I think that's why they did what they did with that, because it established this. Oh my God, this is unlike anything you've ever seen. And but it's funny because that template is very much what Blair Witch ended up doing. So it's it just kind of created that style. I'm sure there may have been one or two before, but that's the first one on my radar to really be like found footage. And it's a cool concept. Sometimes they'll do like the UI of like a low battery or the cross frames that really wouldn't work, but I don't know. It's pretty effective.
I guess I was more of a Paranormal Activity guy. I'd follow those all the time until toward the end, but.
It's so inspiring to hear about how that came to be, though, because like, what was the budget on that?
It was crazy low.
It was really low, and then it just took off like nothing else. And I think Spielberg got involved. I don't know if it was a DreamWorks thing too. Like they made them change the ending. That was the only thing that was kind of a bummer. Do you remember the original ending for that?
Oh God, that's right. It had an alternate ending, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was like because it was the original ending it had, and they said, "All right, we got to zhuzh it up," and they added the kind of it's a little hokey, but I don't know. I still really like the movie.
What was the one that you're thinking of? Is that where she comes at the camera? Is that
so? That's what they added. I think originally she stands over his like dead body for like days as it time lapses. And then the cops enter the house and like take her out. It's something like that.
I did see that. Yep,
yeah,
yep. And you hear the guns and it's off camera. Yeah,
right. So I kind of get, it's a little low tech, and I could see them wanting to end more on a bang. But that was a really effective. You really, I like the build up. That's where atmosphere is really important. Like if you try to watch that on a 19-inch TV in your kitchen, I don't think it's going to hit home. But, in a movie theater with like-minded people who are just like really into it, like that's a good one. I really just dig how that movie feels.
It is an atmosphere genre. You're right. Another one that I remember watching was Lake Mungo. I don't know if you ever saw that one. It's an Australian one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about a missing girl from this family, and they do they're trying to find clues on what happened.
Sure.
And there's a really cool end shot. It's always like those always lead up to like the climactic shot is like, oh my God, that's the final thing.
Yeah.
It's their payoff. So I kind of enjoy that.
I love it. Oh, that's great. I mean, you got to have a strong ending, and they're really again, Gremlins is such a silly family movie, but the end of that with the narrator just really struck a chord with me. And
that one struck with you.
Yeah, I just think that's so effective. There's so many great shots. I mean, we could do a whole another episode into some of my favorite shots. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That one for me is more like the sound they use in that movie is so haunting. There was that.
Yeah.
that's that piercing kind of like when the flash of the camera noise.
I always think of that.
Yeah, like that's another going into remakes and sequels and what deserves a sequel and whatnot. That is one of the better remakes. The Jessica Biel version was in 2003. What do you think about that compared to the original?
I do like that one. And I don't mind if a horror movie is remade and taken some liberties on and
sure
becomes like a newer thing for a newer generation. I mean,
I liked that Friday the 13th they did, I think in 2009. God, I always think of it as the most recent remake, but it's been a while for that one.
Yeah.
But I love how they almost combined the first 3 movies into like an opening little montage.
That's true, right?
That was really effective. And I remember seeing that with a packed audience, and they loved that opening.
Yeah, I wish I saw that in the audience. I missed that one.
That was it. I had to come around on that one. My buddy Louie, who worked with us, was a big fan of that, and I didn't know how I felt it because he just had such different energy in that one. I liked his slow stalking approach, and that one he was almost like this angry pit bull. Like he would actively run at some of these guys, and I didn't know how I felt about that, but.
Yeah, it was a different take, but I like I was saying, I do like when they take some different spins on things or a different swing on something. So yeah, we were talking about either remakes / sequels, and what's kind of the why didn't some get sequels? And I would say it's probably because they did it right the first time, or didn't find a way to market it any bigger, right?
Sure, but I wish something could be very successful, like touching on Weapons. Like Weapons was so unique, and that this announcement of a prequel of Gladius is like. I guess that's cool because that's a very interesting character, and I'd like to see more about her. But
right,
I would have loved it if the director was like, "Nah, we got it."
I would have been down with that too.
Yeah, like Hereditary, I feel like there's been murmurs of a follow up, and I hope they don't. Just let it be its own thing. I think.
I feel that way if It Follows because I think they're working on.
They're working on the second one for that, and
with, Micah Monroe, and she's really good in those.
She is
in the horror movies.
And I will admit they've got me with that one because the idea of multiples of those, like They Follow, is pretty terrifying. But it was such a fun little perfect thing that I'm like, just leave it alone. Yeah, just let that be its thing and let it exist in that world, and don't give me sequels. It's so easy to want to go down that path, and I get it because you slap a 2 on that, and you've got a guaranteed audience. But going back to Halloween, do you remember how they approached that when Halloween came out? I just love that there was no copyright on Halloween. Like they were the first to make a movie.
Oh right.
And as much as I love Michael Myers, like. If they could have stuck to their guns of each Halloween was just a different movie, we could have had this like incredible anthology run of every Halloween. They just dominated Halloween with a Halloween movie. Like, because Halloween 3 gets a bad rap, but I like that one. I think it's fun.
Do you think it was a product of its time of why the audience rejected it at first? I know it's grown a cult following over time, part 3, but
sure.
It was right at the beginning of like part 2, part 3,
Well, if they hadn't done a part 2, I think they just established that Halloween means Michael Myers. So the audience just wholeheartedly rejected that, and I get it. And the Thing is incredible too, and how audiences kind of rejected that too. That came out 3 weeks after E.T. I think everyone wanted the warm, cuddly alien, and not the grotesque, Lovecraftian eldritch horror. And that's another one that's hard to quantify because they did do kind of a weird. Prequel sequel to that.
It fits in between, doesn't it?
It fits in between. It's like the Norwegian crew, and it ends with the beginning of the first one. But that in and of itself is a remake of the original, Thing from Another World, which I know he's like a big carrot in that one essentially, but I think that's a really fun movie. I love everyone's walking in and out of doors. There's just a lot of fun staging in in that one. But
you're talking about the remake?
The original,
the original
30s version.
That's huge. And tying with Carpenter, also The Fog is another one that I know got a remake.
Oh yeah, it did get a remake. I didn't retain any of that remake.
Yeah.
Carpenter's a tough one to remake for me because I just love that he composes and he scores everything he shoots essentially. And although the thing I think was Ennio Morricone doing like a cover of how Carpenter would have done the music. But yeah, The Fog had such a fun, unique style. Like just kind of, I don't know, that remake didn't hit the same as that one, but
Yeah.
I do like The Fog.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't. Like I said, we mentioned how it may not need a sequel, and like The Fog basically kind of tells its
That's
story
true.
and kind
Yeah.
of.
I mean, despite getting remade, I
finishes
mean, it is kind of a standalone thing. I mean, there's not really much more you can go with that. So I kind of like that hasn't had like a true sequel. The Crazies is another one. And I did enjoy that remake a lot. But yeah, that doesn't need a sequel. But Romero's and the remake was actually really good. The more to think about it, like I wouldn't say it was better, but it's a really fun movie.
Another one I thought of. Have you seen Black Christmas? That's another one on my list.
Oh, yes, that's another one I love. The ending of that is incredible. I love just the that's haunting. Like, and that holds up for me. Like I remember when I first saw it, and I think I watched it 5-6 years ago, and it was still just as an effective, creepy atmosphere.
Just
and
his voice on the phone is like enough to scare the crap out of me.
Hello?
Hey, Mommy. There's the baby. Baby, all right, Mom. Just
Hello? Who's there?
I know you're there. Just see me. You answer me.
Because it's like so off and weird. That story could definitely be a part 2. I mean, you can definitely, like, another class comes in the next year or whatever.
Oh, sure.
And this person is still on the loose and we don't know who it is, kind of thing. But yeah, they kind of left that one alone. I know they did a remake.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that.
I don't think I've seen
a lot
that
of remakes
either.
I don't see unless I hear something really good about.
Yeah. There hasn't been very many that I've been like, oh, I'm excited to go out to the theater. Like, they're usually a very trepidatious watch, but I like it when I'm surprised. Like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was kind of I've met Gunnar Hansen, I've gone to cons and met all those guys. So I was really into that. So when they were going to do a remake, but it was something about that one. I just think the trailer was so effective. I think I was like, oh, this feels different. I want to go see this. I remember being kind of excited to go to the theater to see that one. But
The remake?
The remake, yeah.
Yeah. No,
they did a terrible one for Netflix. I don't know if that was a Netflix exclusive.
I was just going to bring that up.
God, it was bad. There's this cutaway shot where he like rises out of the cornfield that I just remember guffawing when that happened. It was just so unintentionally funny. That one was brutal. That was a hard watch.
I tried to stay up late one night to watch that, and yeah, it has a really weird ending too with the girl and her. Yeah, he like grabs the girl, and yeah,
there's a lot of misfires in that one. I don't know what they were going for.
That's a good way to
it didn't work.
it. I had a few others here. I just wanted to bring up Invasion of the Body Snatchers is another one that
That's
you would
incredible.
think like that's prime for having a sequel. You would think, right?
Sure. Well, you know what's funny? Wasn't there a kind of pseudo remake with Nicole Kidman with that? It was very interesting how under the radar, like they didn't want to draw attention to it being that, but it was. But again, not a real sequel, as opposed to just being another remake. The Invasion, yeah. And it's kind of fun that I think if you went to see that and didn't know, I think it would slowly dawn on you like, oh, this is a remake of that. The Donald Sutherland one is my favorite, but I think when it comes to like some of the remakes that have happened, the original 1956 one ties into that in such a fun sequel way that Kevin McCarthy, who's the lead in the original, has a cameo in the Sutherland one, running around like a crazy person. So I like to watch them back to back almost, because if you watch the 56 one and he kind of runs off into the night, the way that ends, and then you pick up with the Donald Sutherland one, it's almost like they connect as two different movies, because you see him kind of deranged in that one.
Oh, wow. I'll have to think of that next time.
I'm really big on movies that can connect double feature wise.
I love that
stuff. Double features are my favorite. So I love that I can do that with the 1956 one and then the 70s one too. But that's a special movie. I love I'm blanking on her name, but the actress from Alien, she's so good in that, and of course just Donald Sutherland. It's just a very effective and a very scary concept for a horror movie to
Yeah, there's a
me.
lot of
And
paranoia with that.
yeah, Brad, oh gosh, I'm not blanking, but the sound effects designer for Star Wars worked on that,
Oh wow.
and that kind of pulsing sound of like the pods essentially
Yeah.
was his wife's ultrasound of their baby, and he
Oh
like
wow.
played it in reverse and did all this fun
Messed with
stuff
it.
with it. Yeah.
The other one I wanted to mention is have you seen Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things? There's the earlier one.
Oh gosh, I
It's like
know I
way
have,
back.
but yeah,
Yeah.
way back. I don't remember it, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen that one.
That's like
I've always loved the title. That title is so
yeah,
chilling.
that's a really odd one. I know our the co-hosts on the show, Jim and Mark, have that. They showed it to me once when we were together checking it out. I think it got released on physical media for the first time
Oh,
in a
cool.
while, and it's just like this marker of time is such an odd. It's like this troupe of actors like resurrect the dead somehow, some sort
Okay.
of ritual, and these dead people start coming after them. It's really interesting. And
Yeah, I love it. I love the concept.
yeah,
I'll have to look. I'll have to
that's like
revisit that one. Man.
1972, so that one goes way
Sure.
back.
Sure.
Any others that you can think of before we kind of maybe jump
Yeah,
into?
well, The Fly's great,
Oh, yeah.
but that also got like a weird sequel with Eric Stoltz that
Oh,
I don't
man.
know.
I totally
It
forgot
definitely
about
got a
that.
sequel, yeah. But I love The Fly. That's one that should have just kind of existed as its own standalone. But I mean, Cronenberg's just another level. I mean, Scanners. I don't know if that really. It's interesting. I guess it would be a horror film or
I
a
know, doesn't
thriller.
sci-fi kind of like sometimes it kind of offshoots, whether it's
It
sci-fi
does.
or horror?
Well, I was gonna say, if you're talking about like what does it have to be I think of like the most effective, scary scene in a movie to me might be like Fire in the Sky. Do you remember that one?
Mm-mm.
And so it came out the same. Like it was just me and my friends were just alien crazy because that summer was the summer X-Files premiered, and then this
Oh, wow.
came out like that July. But it's like a adaptation of a book on a supposed true alien abduction, and it's more. I think Robert Patrick's in it. It's more of a mystery on like what happened to this guy and what's he going through, because he just disappears one night, and
Oh,
all
wow.
his friends are accused of his murder, and then he comes back like nude in the woods, and he's crazy. He's got these strange wounds, and he's got this kind of weird PTSD. And near the end of the movie, they do this 10-minute sequence revisiting, this alien abduction that happened to him. And oh man, it's a really effective, you can probably just find it on YouTube and watch it because it is kind of a standalone thing to the movie.
Oh, okay.
But the way they shot it is horrifying. So it's fun. It's because I would think it would just be listed as a drama, but it's one of my favorite horror scenes in a movie.
It is interesting though, the sci-fi, like you mentioned, like Alien, the 1979 is horror, but it's very sci-fi. It's all sci-fi with horror embedded in it, the haunted house in space idea and stuff.
I think it's really fun when you can make comedy. Like, of course, sci-fi and horror can go together great.
Yeah, right.
Predator is amazing and Alien, but there's oh gosh, I hate that I'm going to bring him up, but one of my favorite effects is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Do you remember that one?
No.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil is incredible, and oh man, please search it out and watch it because you will love it. And I think the Blu-ray has an incredible feature on it that it makes it even better. So it's two hillbilly friends in the woods. And they are accidentally, it's this kind of like cross identity thing. There's college students lost and they keep accidentally killing themselves in front of these guys. But everything that happens makes it look like these guys are serial killers like Jason or Leatherface. But they were just innocent, bumbling friends. But, somebody will fall into a wood chipper and they're trying to get them out. And then the cop will show up and it looks like they killed, But it's really funny. But they do this great, clever bonus feature on the Blu-ray where they do it from the college kid's perspective. And it really does look like a horror movie. So it's fun.
Just
but I
edited a different way.
Yeah, it's just a great horror comedy. There's few and far between, but the great ones are really great. That, Shaun of the Dead is just such a fun. Notting Hill meets Dawn of the Dead is such a great pitch for a movie.
I had My Bloody Valentine was another one I was thinking of.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Has a remake, but the original one could have definitely gone on to spawn other killers or whatever, minors.
Sure.
So that was another one that didn't quite get a sequel, but maybe could have deserved something, I guess, right?
Of course, yeah. That one, yeah, it's fun. The ones that I like it when they are standalone and they don't need a sequel. But sometimes
Right.
it's like, shoot, I would have liked to have seen more
Yeah.
of that. There was a Alien ripoff called like Leviathan, I think.
Okay. Well.
And it can't. Like, it's so funny. Like The Abyss, Leviathan, and one other, and Deep Below, I think, all came out like within a year of each other, and they're all like underwater facilities.
It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't think anyone was. They were all in the production at the same time. There's no way
they had to be written and greenlighted.
Yeah, they weren't ripping each other off. It just happened to be a
it just happened at the
coincidence.
same time.
But an underwater like research facility is such a fun playground for a horror film. Like I would have liked them to do another one of those.
I can't think of the one of Kristen Stewart. She's in one
That
too.
one was great.
Yeah,
I
that's a
like that
really
one.
good
I'm blanking on the name of that too. But I love that it leaned into that Lovecraft eldritch horror at the end of it. It's funny that Lovecraft doesn't have more traction. Like Guillermo del Toro has like for years wanted to make at the Mountains of Madness. Like at one point Tom Cruise was going to star in it and he's never been able to get it off the ground. I'd like to see him do it someday because that would be a really cool movie.
Yeah. Well, maybe that'll lead us up into we have our couple other topics we could touch on real quick.
Sure.
You mentioned weapons, and we just wanted to kind of touch on that. I know we both enjoyed that one and talked about it a bit at work. And
sure.
What did you like about it to get it going? I guess
I liked that Suspiria is one of my favorite movies, and so witchcraft in horror. I feel like it's been a while since we've explored that. So I kind of, it seems like it was a very simple story if it wasn't for the Pulp Fiction kind of editing mechanic, but I don't think it was as convoluted as people make it seem. That it was neat to show this character and here's the linear set of events. So now we go back a little bit and this is what this character. And so it was fun to fill in the blanks of that and to go in blind. I mean, I knew nothing about the movie and it's so rare these days. I tend to just accidentally absorb so much information about it.
I try my best not to.
I know,
ones
I'm
that
really
I look forward
working
to.
on it. And Weapons was great because it was a fun trailer of like, oh, this is weird. So to see the movie end up being about that and I think that dinner scene where they're sitting on the kitchen table, and that was such a haunting exchange. Yeah, the parents are under that spell, and she's proving to the kid that she can make them do anything, and she's just so evil in that
it's very
scene.
evil.
So,
and she was great, right?
She was great. So that's when I first heard the announcement of a sequel or a prequel, I was a little put off, but she was such an interesting character. If they can make it work, I would like to see more of that. But
I mean, I would have faith. I don't know. Is Zach Kreger is behind that? I wonder. I don't even know.
I think he is. I think he was the one that pitched it. But what's cool is he is going to do Resident Evil first.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need another one of those, but something about the interviews I've seen him give and how he wants to
do it right.
I don't know, just the way he wants to approach it gives me a little bit of hope. And then some of the stuff that happens in Weapons, I'm like, okay, I'd like to see what this guy can do with Resident Evil. Because that whole series was pretty corny, but I enjoyed the first one more than I thought I would with the Resident Evils. But it's so not the game. I think it's funny that George Romero was hired and wrote a script, which I read and was great for Resident Evil. And Capcom didn't like it, and they fired him. Like the guy who birthed the zombie movie, they said, no thanks on his script.
We're good.
I think that's so weird. But no, so when he gets that out, I'd like to see, if they can approach it right and do it. There was something very 70s about the horror in it that I really liked. I don't know why it reminded me of Suspiria so much, but it was just the effectiveness of like ringing that bell and the way the spells worked was really creepy. And my God, that ending was gonzo. I don't know what that would have been like to watch like this alone, but my theater really responded to it.
It made you like, should I be laughing at this? I mean, it gave me like a weird feeling. Like,
it was
comedy,
strange.
or am I just?
I'm pretty sure that was done on purpose, but my whole theater just laughed. We
were all giggling.
Giggling and then gasping, like when the kids would run through the windows. It was so shocking, and then how grotesque like they're eviscerating her was.
Right, they get her, and it's like
and then it's just over. It was so different. I don't know that, but I don't know. It was refreshing because I think movies would be afraid these days to show children in that kind of light, and to have them just kill the villain the way they did was interesting, and all the performances were really good. So yeah, it was a refreshing movie. If you can capture any of that magic, I'll give the prequel a chance.
Yeah, I would give it a chance. I have to say that moment, and I mentioned this on a prior pod on our Fandom Outpost podcast, but the scene with our main star, Julia Garner, is sleeping in the car, sleeping off, being drunk in the car.
Out of the
and she's coming out of the house. At first, it's just a shot of that door where it just kind of opens and it's dark. It just gave me like the creeps. And then you see this figure, and then the figure comes out, and it's just so well done. Like,
it's so well done. My audience had an interesting reaction. I didn't know if I liked, but I think I did, because
we had a that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's like the gamut of emotions was really fun, because there was this gasp at the door opening, a giggle at the way she walked out, and then when you hear that back door open, there was like another gasp, and then like it was really fun to feel that roller coaster of emotions the audience went on, and I just loved that clicked and worked with people.
I do too. That's what I love about horror, is that feeling you can get, like you said, in a theater. You just kind of share that moment, and it's something I don't want to give up.
No, they always say streaming is going to win. I was like, I can't imagine these movies without it. Like, you can have people over and you can have great speakers, sure, but I don't know, man. There's something magical about it. Like when the Redford had that thing anniversary screening a couple years ago, half the theater hadn't seen the movie before, which was so strange to me. But man, you could feel the energy. Like, they loved it, and that's one of my favorite movie-going experiences of all time, was seeing it with all those people. It was great, and yeah, that's just magic.
Yeah. So we'll be looking forward to that one, I guess, the Weapons prequel. And I guess our final topic, we wanted to talk about some of the upcoming movies that that are getting on our radar a bit for this coming fall of 2025. I know we kind of joked about Good Boy that's coming up.
I know.
With the dog, because I'm like, if that dog gets hurt, I'm not going to watch.
Exactly. That they're going to lose all of us. But there's something very Courage the Cowardly Dog about it that I love the idea of the dog being the protagonist. So if he gets through it unscathed, I'll be really happy. But I think it'll be a really fun, intense. I like movies, like when you hear the concept, they're like, oh, of course. Like, I can't believe no one's done that before, but I'm glad it's coming out. Like, the word of mouth is so good. Like, I don't know if that was supposed to be a Shudder release, but that trailer, like, had such a great reaction from people that, or just the word of mouth of it, that I think it's getting a wider release than they planned on, and that's great. I hope it does well.
That's like we also mentioned before we started recording, is the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein that's coming out, right?
Sure.
And that's, I think it looked like it was getting a theater release and then a Netflix release like a month later.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think they have to meet obligations for awards consideration, right? Like, that's why it'll go into theaters, but it was made as a Netflix film. But yeah, I would hope to see that in the theater. I hope it's not just a limited release. I don't think it would be. It's too big.
I wonder if it's limited. You're right.
Yeah, but it's fun, because we talked before we started too about also Maggie Gyllenhaal's directing The Bride. So it's fun that this fall we're going to get Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein essentially. But that one's really intriguing to me. When I went and saw One Battle After Another, which is an incredible movie. But they had the trailer for that in like kind of an IMAX format, and it was really fun. Like, I think they filmed for IMAX, which is the weird kind of like this large format style that they're hyping now. It's not true IMAX, but it's got that very tall, nice aspect ratio. But it really made me want to see the movie that way. And Christian Bale, and it just looks like it's going to be really good.
The trailer is put together in such a cool way that I'm just like, okay, somebody knows what they're doing with this trailer. It's giving me some confidence.
And I love the Bonnie and Clyde energy, but like a horror movie, but Frankenstein style. I don't know. Like that one's high on my list of ones I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one too. The other one I mentioned to you, and we kind of talked a little bit about, was this new movie coming out in October, close to Halloween, which should be cool. Shelby Oaks, which was a independent horror film written by Chris Stuckman, who is a podcast reviewer, I guess you'd say, and writer. and had this idea, I guess, and did a Kickstarter to get it off the ground. And then over the last 5 years or so, got the money and started putting it together. And Mike Flanagan liked it so much, he joined as producing it. So it's gotten a lot of buzz, I guess. I read some things about it that
it was a really haunting little trailer. There's a couple images in that I'm like, okay, I want to see that.
Somebody said Hereditary meets Blair Witch, so I'm like, okay, I'm in. It's like,
have me at both of those.
So it's like, if there's anything to do with that kind of business,
I love when people are able to raise money like that. Like one of the most effective movies recently that it could also fit in our conversation about sequels was I think it's it's the Philippou brothers. I know I'm not saying that right, but they were YouTubers, and they just, I don't even know if they crowdfunded, but they just kind of put all their experience making these YouTube shorts into making a movie, and they did Talk to Me. Also Bring Her Back was like their kind of follow up, but Talk to Me was incredible.
I love Talk to Me. Yeah,
it was really, really good. That was another one where the ending is such a gut punch for me in effectiveness, and but I love that. I love that YouTubers and podcasters, like people who just love and absorb this content. It's fun to see their take on the genre. You watch enough of it, and like your take on it's going to be really interesting. Right. And I like that he's got Mike Flanagan's kind of guidance on it too. He's another one that does some great stuff.
Yeah. I know we talked about Midnight Mass, a series on Netflix. That's
so
on my
good.
list of vampire stuff, and
he really seems to have taken the Stephen King's material, because I know he's working on a Dark Tower approach that that's kind of run the gamut. And that's another one that's hard to quantify. Really, it's horror, but it's sci-fi. It's a western. It's Stephen King came up with that, taking mushrooms and watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So it's a really strange trip of a series. But Mike Flanagan doing it makes me think it could turn out pretty good, because I think he did. Did he do the Gerald's Game on Netflix?
I think so.
Did you watch that? Oh, no. That was a creepy one. That's got some good moments too.
I remember that title, but I don't remember it. I didn't watch it. I know he did Hush, and I watched that over the summer this year.
Sure.
Because I hadn't seen that in a while. And it was always one of those ones that didn't come out on physical media.
Oh,
so
right.
I think I got it off of Tubi or one of those, free ones. And I was like, I've never seen this one, so I'm going to check it out. And it was pretty effective as far as, she was she deaf? I think she was deaf.
Yeah.
And she's tormented by this killer in the woods, kind of like a cabin.
Yeah, I remember that one being good, but I got to revisit it.
Yeah, so that one's cool. What else is, we got a few, Netflix has Welcome to Derry, the It follow-up, I guess, or prequel-y kind of thing, I think.
Because what did you think of that It remake or the most recent one? I mean, I know this because it's the same actor and same people involved, so that's kind of like a continuation of this. I loved Volume 1. I did not like Volume 2. I don't know. And I can't really explain why it didn't work. I think it was so CG and just so...
too much?
Over the top. I don't know. But whereas the first one was really effective, though. I mean, it was the same amount of stuff. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't click with me for the follow-up. But I'm curious about this. Yeah. I mean, as a series, it could really work.
Yeah, I've seen a trailer or two, and it looks pretty interesting. I know that's coming out soon. Stranger Things Season 5, I believe. So
yeah.
The kids are graduated from college or something. By now.
Some of them are getting ready for AARP cards, man. That's been so long.
So that should be interesting.
Sure.
That's a great series. It just is such a time gap between them that you kind of lose that momentum.
Unfortunate. If they could have knocked these out closer back to back, and I know it's everyone's shooting schedules and everything is kind of ridiculous, but it's weird, the time gap.
Yeah, I don't know if COVID played a role, because it was kind of right in the middle of that.
Yeah, I could see that. But even before that, there was this weird 2-3 year stopgaps that.
Yeah, season 1. I love season 1.
Season 1 was great. Season 1 just captured that E.T. 80s Spielberg film. Right. Like, I don't know, that was good.
So we're looking forward to that, and the new Predator Badlands is on the books, and I was curious to know your thoughts. I don't think we talked about that one really.
Sure, the first trailer kind of was like a weird misfire, just in the sense that character's face was a little jarring. Yeah, I wish this final trailer would have been the only one they'd released, because that one really clicked for me. And the director was quoted as saying he was inspired by one of my favorite video games of all time. It's called Shadow of Colossus.
Okay.
And he was inspired by that. It's just this kind of hero character facing these larger than life, incredible bosses, and the scope of that. And hearing that interview and then watching that last trailer, I'm like, oh, I can see where he got inspired by that. And it just looks fun. I don't know. I don't have major, that franchise has really had a lot of weird. I think the best sequel was the Robert Rodriguez one. I've got a soft spot for the Predator 2. It's not a great movie, but I love it. I do.
We all have soft spots for certain ones.
I can't defend anything in it. It's so cheesy, but I really like that one. But that Rodriguez take was really fun because I love the idea of trying to capture that magic. Because the first movie just worked because of that insane ensemble cast.
Right,
everyone could have been their own Commando, Terminator, Arnold flick, and it just really worked. So I don't know. Predator Badlands is the first one in a while where I'm like, okay, I want to see this. I hope it turns out.
Yeah, I hope it's good. Again, when you love a franchise, you're just hoping for the best.
Yeah, I'll agree
with it going on, and some of them work and some of them don't, I guess.
Sure.
I think that's about all that we had on our list to kind of bring up.
I love it, man. It's a great time of year. I like. We're not even October yet, but Halloween's like a 6-week event for me. I just as soon as October hits, which is tomorrow, I get in that mode. I used to be really big, but man, I kind of ran out of movies. But I would try to watch a horror film I'd never seen on each day of October. But grown up stuff got in the way of that, so that's been hard to pull off. But
how do you watch certain ones, like your favorites, at a certain time? Because I kind of have to wait on Halloween and 1 and 2. You can't watch it too early. I got to watch it closer.
I got to watch it closer to Halloween. Monster Squad is another one that I love revisiting, and I like to wait till the middle of the month to watch that. The Redford's going to get that. I'm hoping to go catch a screening of that next week. In fact, the Redford's got some bangers. They got a bunch of, I think Evil Dead, the 35mm is going to screen there.
That's on Halloween, I think.
On Halloween, shoot, I don't know if I'll be able to make it out on Halloween. That's rough, but that'd be a fun one to bring my kid to. I don't know. She's ready for it. But no, I don't know. It's just so much fun. Everything gets turned up to 11 when you watch in October with the fall leaves and that chill in the air. The movies just work, and I love it.
The Exorcist, I gotta get in. I gotta get a shout out to that. It's one of my favorites. I gotta get that in. Halloween 1, 2. If I have time, 3. And then I love It Follows. That's another fall one.
Yeah,
I just love a great fall feel, and it's shot nearby, and at the Redford's got some shots in it, and it's I just love that feel of that one. And
same.
So we just try to spread them out and pick the right time to watch them, I guess, in October. So
it's my favorite time of year, man. It's great.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Please join us on social media on our Facebook and Instagram page. Share your thoughts and leave us a comment or a subscription or a like on this channel. We'd really appreciate the help. And I guess that's it for now. We'll have a happy October. We'll catch you later, right?
I'll see you later here. Right. Tar Man will say goodbye.
Brain. I love him. All right, man. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.